Back in caveman times, presumably they had no real employee welfare laws or other protections. If you were injured, say, protecting your cave from a saber-toothed tiger, well, you just depended upon the kindness of your clan or your tribe. If you were otherwise overworked and exhausted at the old age of 35, let's say, there was no social security for you. If you were otherwise injured on the job, there was no workers' comp or no occupational safety and health administration protections. There was no Family Health and Leave Act. There were no overtime, double pay, or pay and a half provisions. There were no maximum hours provisions, such as are found in the Fair Labor Standards Act. We live in modern times where we no longer depend so much upon a big club and the brute force that perhaps our caveman ancestors depended upon. Instead, we have law which throws to us a life preserver, if you will. And the life preserver is there so that even if we are not so fortunate enough to have rich relatives, friends, or others who are willing to assist us, we can depend upon government regulation to give us some protections. Now, all of these schemes of protection tend to stem from horror stories. They tend to go back to some event or series of events that so scandalized the nation that eventually people decided they needed to do something about it. It could be a horrible factory fire that kills numerous workers, causing a state or federal government to pass laws to better protect the workplace. It could be scandalous situations in which people simply are out of work and out of luck through old age or forced retirement. It could be because of cases in which people have a bedridden or otherwise ill family member and they can't really do what they need to do on behalf of that person. All of these horror stories led to situations in which laws were changed. I'll give you just one horror story example. And this goes all the way back to the 1880s. There were 18 men playing baseball, 9 men on each team. One team was consistent of 9 men, each having only one leg. The other team was the one-armed bandits. Each one of them only had one arm. So you had the one-armed team versus the one-legged team, and you're thinking, well, this is just incredible. How could there be such a thing? All 18 men worked for the Erie Railroad Company in Erie, Pennsylvania, and 17 of them had lost their limbs working for the railroad company. They'd either lost a leg or they'd lost an arm. One guy lost a leg at the Battle of Gettysburg 20 years earlier, but the rest had lost it on the job. And while this was probably rare that you'd have that many fellows at a particular place suffering such injuries, it was not at all uncommon for workplace accidents to leave people destitute. And so to compensate for that and to otherwise overcome the various iniquities associated with the workplace, we have had a series of laws passed going all the way back to the very early part of the 20th century, and who knows, probably will continue into the future as we encounter future horror stories.